Hey y'all, it's Megan. Glad you're here, glad you joined us today. So we are standing on the hillside that I showed you in my Pigness of the Pig video, if you remember from that. And we're going to show you a little what we're doing here and talk to you a little bit about it.
All right, so I don't know if you can tell it or not, but this is a pretty steep hillside. We've already done a little bit of something up here. We'll show you that in just a minute. But we've got some blackberries, some raspberries, and some muscadines planted, and blueberries along this hillside. Well, this hillside is where the pigs were, and you know, we let them tear it up. We did have one whole cover crop on this whole thing here, but we let the pigs tear it up, and actually let them stay in here until it was down to nothing but the dirt. But there's one thing we did know, that we couldn't leave it like that long because there's a lot of water that rushes down this hill, and if we'd have left it like that bare soil, every bit of it would have been down at the creek. So what we're going to try to do, or what we've already done, is we've got wood chips scattered on all of this hill, kind of like a mulch, holding it, hopefully going to hold it together. And you know, year after year, I've got a pretty good connection where I can get free wood chips from a tree service company. And we try to keep a pile of those laying around all the time so they're sitting and breaking down and whatnot. But anyway, we're going to probably try to keep this whole area right here mulched year after year, and that'll continue to build soil and, you know, as they break down. But we're going to plant on this whole hillside here your vining type garden plants, such as some of your winter squash, some pumpkins, some gourds. I don't know, we've got all kinds of stuff laid out over here that we're going to try to plant. And you know, typically, yeah, and we've even got some tobacco plants we're going to plant out here. But you know, typically that kind of stuff would take over a normal garden because it vines out so long. So we're hoping that where we're not going to be tilling this or anything, the vines can just run and do their thing. The wood chips will help keep them clean so the dirt won't be beating up on them and when it rains. So that's our plan. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this, and so we're going to see how it works. But
and y'all people that live in hill country like we do, you know, don't get discouraged because there's only so many flat spots in places like this, and we're trying to utilize every square inch that we have. So I mean, I don't know if you can tell how steep this is from the video, but this is a good for nothing rocky hillside, or it was, and we're trying to make it good for something.
Yeah, that's something else. It's very rocky. So even if you were to try to do any type of tillage or farming on this side of the hill with a tractor, you know, those rocks are just going to do nothing but cause you problems. So doing something, I don't know if you would technically call this no-till, but it's very limited till. Something like that on a hillside like this is about the only way you can go, which normally you wouldn't even have planted a hillside like this. You know, people would have avoided a hillside and they plant their flat spots on top. But, you know, when you're living in an area like we do, you've only got so many flat spots. You've either got them up on a ridge or down in a bottom. And here at our place, we don't have many of that, and most of our good flatter laying land is pasture land, and we've got it in good grass, and we don't want to tear that up and plant anything on it. So we're using a spot that's really not good for anything other than trying to make the best of it. So get better and better and better because these wood chips will continue to break down, and as long as we stay on top of things like we should and continue to put wood chips on this, like I said, each year it'll just improve. The first year may not be as good because these wood chips are just now breaking down. You know, they hadn't set quite as long as they should have, but it's still going to be getting out here and trying to keep the weeds out of this without some type of mulch layer.
And this is just a way of us questioning the system, of course. You know, we like to talk about questioning everything. So whose rule was it that you had to plant it on a flat spot? That's the way we look at it. Or whose rule was it that you had to do it just so? So shoot, y'all, we just plant stuff everywhere.
Yeah, that's about right. We just kind of test things out and see what works and see what don't. You know, if this fails, we'll know to do something different next time, or we'll try to figure out what we've done wrong to make it work. One other thing I did want to mention is, you know, our hog lot is right here. Of course, you know, you've seen in the other videos that we had fenced in the woods. But beforehand, our hogs just stayed in this really small lot right here. And they would use, this right here was like their bathroom area, I guess you would say. So everything that's right there, the nitrogen and all from their manure, would wash down this hill. So that's another source of like a way of fertilizing this hillside, because that's been, what, 2 years ago now when this was in grass? I sowed this little hillside in grass about, I guess it's been 2 years ago, and that very first year the grass got so thick and it got like up to my waist. And it was all because of that runoff coming from right there. Because out here where it wasn't getting that runoff did not grow like that. So like I said, that's just another way of, we're hoping to utilize the best of what we got here, where this can run off and kind of fertilize what we've got down here below it. Like I said, this is all one big experiment. We don't know how good it's going to work. We think it's going to work good, but we'll find out. If it fails, it fails. The only thing we've lost is the time putting the wood chips on it and planting seeds. So,
and something to think about too, you know, with planting on a hillside, the way we look at it, I mean, here ain't nothing but a mountainside and there's plants growing all over it. So if they can grow, why can't we figure out how to make it grow? Right?
That's right, yeah. In nature, you're looking through there's trees and everything else all over this hill. The only thing that concerns me is trying to keep it together from washing out. I hope these wood chips do their job. About 2 weeks ago, we had an extremely hard rain, which is pretty rare. Like, we normally don't have rains like that. But it rained about 2.5 inches in just a couple hours, and I mean, it was pouring. And we did have one washout that come straight down the hill here. Of course, we've done fixed it now. So I hope it holds together. We'll see. But like I said, I think with time, it won't do nothing but get better.
Seeds.
Yeah. These are the seeds we're planning on planting over here. And our little baca plants are over here, but they're ready to be planted, so don't just look over how yellow they are at the moment. We've left them in these boxes about too long. We're just planting these for decorations and so the kids will know what a baca plant is.
All right. One other thing I want to mention is right now you can see our blackberries are not exactly big yet. So look at all this space that's in between those blackberries. We're going to plant some stuff in that too, because right now, I mean, you know, a couple years from now, those blackberries are going to shade all that out, and then we won't be able to use that space. But right now, why not plant something in it? So we're going to probably stick a couple of pumpkins or some squash or something out, you know, and just let it run out in amongst the blackberries too. And like I said, why not? If it don't work, we'll know next time not to do it. To plant all these seeds, I picked up these little things right here on Amazon. I'd seen a short little video of them on, I think it was on Instagram. And so I thought that would be a pretty cool little thing to where you don't have to get out here with a shovel. We can just zoop and make a spot just for the seed and cover it up and keep it going. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to see how it works. Up on a tobacco farm, they always taught us that, you know, you got to constantly plow, you got to do this, you got to do that in order for the tobacco to do good. I don't know if that was true or what, but we're going to find out. Of course, we're not starting off with the prettiest tobacco ever, but we're going to see. But anyways, we've got that whole hillside. If everything we've got planted comes up, when everything matures out, that whole hillside is going to be covered in one big vine. But, and you may can see it, I don't know if the camera will pick it up from here, but there's a part out there that didn't get wood chips. We run out of wood chips. So what I'm going to do is lightly rake over all that and just throw some buckwheat seed out on it, which is a great cover crop for the summertime. When it blooms, it'll attract the bees. You know, honeybees love it. And anyways, we're about done with it here, and we're just going to wait and see what comes up now. Got our fingers crossed it does good. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention is when you're planting stuff around your place, especially in a situation like this, it's good to get to know your place. So what I mean by that is, somewhere right in here, there's apparently a spring, like a natural spring that runs out of the ground. Like when it's really wet outside, there's a ditch that runs across the top of this gravel, and that water will actually run in that ditch even days after we've had rain. But this whole area right here will stay fairly wet. I don't think it's too wet to grow anything, but it's just, even in the driest of summer, it's wet because, like I say, underground right here somewhere, I think there's a spring, and it just, you know, it's just naturally staying wet from that. So really, once everything gets established, we shouldn't have to worry a thing about watering any of this. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. Learn your place and your property, and know, and you can kind of figure out what things are going to do what good where and what's not. So anyways, we're going to see how this works and see what goes on with it.
And I'll keep y'all updated. And anyways, talk to y'all next time.
Bye.